I'm Scott Elliff. I'm the owner of Ducard Vineyards in Madison County, Virginia. I'm a wine grower, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV. But really the objective here is for us in Virginia to try to increasingly train our own labor force of vineyard managers and assistants and people who can work in our growing little industry. There are a variety of different ways that we can make sure that we do our production in harmony with nature.
I am Professor Apple, and you are watching Meet the Farmer TV.
This program is a production of Meet the Farmer TV, LLC, in association with Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Culpeper Media Network, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia. And In the Kitchen magazine, serving the community and everyone who loves good food. Next on Meet the Farmer TV, we find out how local people are connecting the local food dots and a survey about local food from Market Central.
We're connecting the dots for local food systems.
Building a network consisting of dozens of local farms.
Keep the community close, keep the family close, and connect the dots.
Catalyzing positive change by growing high-quality, ecologically grown vegetables.
To raise animals not only as humanely as possible, but to have gratitude for the animals' lives for feeding us.
So many of our consumers are very concerned about not only what they're eating, but also the footprint that they're leaving on the environment.
I like to help people understand where their food comes from, and I also like to help producers figure out who is eating their food and how they can more easily reach their markets.
And we're trying to help that local food shed be truly local and sustainable.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching
Meet the Farmer TV.
Hello, I'm Michael Clark, your host for Meet the Farmer TV. Let's find out where we're going to get the next generation of farmers. Programs like Farm to School and School to Farm, some way to bring young children into the love of growing and becoming farmers. Let's talk to Dr. Kathleen Merrigan, the Deputy Secretary, and find out more of what's up about Farm to School and the next generation of farmers here on Meet the Farmer TV. You've been working for years, like decades, on environmental issues, and you were like the science advisor for Senator Leahy?
I was indeed.
Tell me
now
about
my
that.
issues are hip. I used to feel like it was an uphill battle, and now the interests around sustainability, local regional food systems, it's the rage.
Yeah.
I mean, local food is hot. It's one of the hottest trends, if maybe the hottest trend they've seen in decades in the food sector. My joke is, I used to go to parties and people say, "What do you do for work?" I say, "I work in ag policy." And all of a sudden I'd be alone with my gin and tonic in a corner of the room. Now I say I work in ag policy and people say, "Cool, wow. Tell me more about it. I want to learn more." So there's this opening of a window now for a conversation about American agriculture that I haven't seen before in my professional life.
That's great.
It is really
And
great.
we've got a hip president, so everybody's really hoping something's going to happen.
And a hip first lady.
I have never seen so many people so excited about fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, and she has a garden.
She has a garden. I've been there many times. She's
Really?
doing a lot with that garden. And I was actually at the White House on St. Patrick's Day, and the Prime Minister of Ireland handed the First Lady some shamrocks from Ireland for the garden. So it's got international buzz.
That's terrific. Are we going to have farmers in the future, or are we just going to buy it all from China?
Well, the average age of farmers in this country, farmers and ranchers, 57 years of age. And we have this huge upsurge of farmers over the age of 75 because we're not growing young farmers in the way that we need to. And so it is a concern, and we think that we have to start educating kids at a really young age. So I'm very interested in farm to school. I'm also interested in school to farm.
So you want to actually bring the schools to the farm and have the kids learn on site what growing food really is?
Well, my own research with my doctoral student at Tufts University, where I was before I came here, found that children who engaged in garden-based learning did better on standardized science tests, had better environmental awareness, and here's the kicker, had a greater willingness to try and actually consume fruits and vegetables. So it's not an add-on to the school day, an extra burden for a school to take on school gardens, for example. It's actually a benefit. And so bringing the agricultural experience into the school and also bringing kids out to the farm is really an exciting thing. I brought kids from inner city Boston out to a farm, and I was so excited to show them where their food comes from. What was really interesting to me is some of these kids had never been on a highway before. So the drive to the farm was exciting. We've got a lot of hills to climb. The Congress has put a lot of money into conservation. Conservation programs are really important because we need to reward our farmers and ranchers for their stewardship. The urban resident needs to understand that our farmers and ranchers are land stewards, and they need to be guided and helped and supported in those efforts. So I don't see our conservation programs, even in tough budget times, being ratcheted down. I think that's the future.
Well, we have a loyal following now. This is our 3rd year, so the neighborhood is just excited that we're back, and we're just
and it's part of the newsletter for the association, right? They talk about it happening. And I think a lot of the vendors have kind of spread the word too. I know a lot of people are like, we want you to do something Tuesday. Said, no, we're going to be at Forest Lakes at the market. So.
I'm trying to think where I'm going to be next. Oh, Darden School.
The Darden School.
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, okay.
Is this an Earth Day market?
Well, we were there last Thursday. Then this Friday we'll be at Darden, and then again next Thursday. And then we'll crank up again till fall.
Okay. Now you're going to teach them the farm accounting that
kind of do business. That's
right. And farm business is a lot different than their regular business. They would never take the risk that a farmer takes.
And we'll teach them how to drink moonshine too.
That's extra credit.
Here at the Charlottesville City Market for years and years, John Coles has been known as the goat cheese guy. This is a special show coming up, a tribute to John Coles at the City Market.
My name's John Coles. I'm here a vendor at the Charlottesville Farmers Market. Name of our farm is Satterfield Dairy Goats. And I'm a member of VICFA, which is the Virginia Independent Consumers and Farmers Association. The thing that is important about the small farm situation is that we being small farmers aren't part of agribusiness. And we would like to have a venue where we can sell, and the farmers market is perfect for that. Now, there are certain things that state regulation does not allow us to sell, like, for instance, goat cheese. And so I can legally give it away. And I do accept donations, not for the cheese, but the donations are for lobbying and for court costs. And believe me, over the last 30 years, we've had a lot of expenses on both of these. So there's ways of getting around it so that the public can get the food that they want. And so a lot of people aren't satisfied with what they buy at the supermarket, so they'd like to buy from the farmer they trust. And this is something that's kind of hard for the establishment to accept.
Families eat really well.
That's
here.
right.
There's plenty of good stuff, fresh apples, fruit, baked goods, all the
Flour?
veggies, corn and wheat, oil, everything you need to feed your family.
We've got a few new vendors. We have a fresh pasta vendor and they actually come from Richmond area. And we have Ted's Last Stand, who has been a long-standing Farmers in the Park vendor, and they're out of Louisa. They have beautiful cut flowers and they have some produce. They are also set up on this street.
This is our first year at the Charlottesville City Market. We're thrilled to be here. We are sharing a space with Vintage Virginia Apples and of course Laura Dollard, who is pretty much a legendary figure at the City Market. We are thrilled to be bringing new cheeses that currently aren't available in Charlottesville venues. We felt that would be a chance to keep it fresh and to also showcase some of the new stuff that we've got coming off the farm this year. We've really enjoyed meeting new faces and new people in Charlottesville, and so far so good. We're always learning at Caramount Farm, and through the City Market customers we've been learning a lot about the nutritional pluses that goat cheese can add. One about fatty acid change, that chains that actually lower cholesterol. So we've had some goat cheeses enjoyed some pretty good press lately regarding that. It's lower in fat, of course, than brie, but most things are. It also has a lot of vitamin A and D.
You're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
That's great. We're here at Monticello for the Heritage Harvest Festival 2010, and we're going to talk to Peter Hatch.
We're at the 4th Annual Heritage Harvest Festival of Monticello, and it's a celebration of sustainable gardening and local food and seed saving. And particularly it's a way to use the legacy of Thomas Jefferson to support a lot of the things that are so important for us today. Thomas Jefferson was first in wine, he was first in gardening, he was first in food. And his legacy is really quite profound in all those three fields. And I think on building on something like this to talk about some of the issues of today are really, really important. For us to live gently and happily on the land, I think we need to learn how to do it. And I think we need to move from history to engagement at Monticello. Scholarship drives our mission at Monticello, but we want to engage people in who Thomas Jefferson was and how he might be used today.
I shut down my operation to devote the rest of my life to teaching, to education, to sharing my experiences with other people. I like to make the approach from low technology so that we are not damaging the environment, so that we can make it available to all people. It makes it democratic. And here in Monticello, I'm sure that Mr. Jefferson would be up in the house applauding that statement, because he wanted all people to share good, not only liberty, but good food.
We are in the beautiful West Lawn of Monticello. The Heritage Festival is in full swing. There are hundreds and thousands of people happily walking around, enjoying this beautiful place that Thomas Jefferson designed and that the foundation maintains, and all kinds of local vendors here with local foods and local ciders and oh my goodness, tomatoes and garlic and everything, and lots of good eats made from local food too. Well, one of the reasons that we asked Monticello if they wanted to partner with us in having the Heritage Harvest Festival is Thomas Jefferson was famous for sharing seeds from Europe and from all over the world and from other parts of the United States with the local farmers. He thought it was that the vegetable cuisine was one of the most important things that you could offer to a country.
This land is a living thing, an organism, and that we have to take care of it. There's a stewardship quality to our relationship to the land. And the best way to do that, again, I find, is to introduce people to local food, to get to know their farmer, to find that their dollar matters, how they spend that food budget dollar matters, and I think to allow folks to get a chance to do some farming. So I'm very thrilled with urban farming. I helped to get the urban farm going at 6th and Monticello, because I felt this was one way of tying people to the land, to growing things, to the miracle of growing things, and then to tying them to the other parts of Albemarle County and the farms there, and deeper into Nelson County and all the other places. There's such a disconnect between farms and urban living, and we need to reconnect people. And I think the best way to do that is to bring it into their neighborhoods so they're curious about it, and they can now just discover that Polyface Farm is just over the mountain, and Davis Creek Farm is right down in Livingston, and Planet Earth Diversified is just up the road from Charlottesville. And these places invite people to come and visit. I mean, this is a whole community that is all about agriculture. It's not just these isolated farmers.
Permaculture is this form of design that focuses on for me, it focuses on mimicking a lot of natural patterns, especially like in the forest, recycling and keeping things sustainable and like a closed loop system where all the nutrients that go in stay in, as opposed to a lot of things coming out as pollutants and things like that. They even use permaculture to clean up areas like for petroleum. Even they use mushrooms to break down the what's the term for those? They just use the mushrooms to break down the petroleum. And it's just a wonderful thing about using nature to clean up after ourselves.
Well, here we are in the cafeteria, EVA, and this is our farm stand, which operates on Thursdays and Fridays all day for employees, guests, visitors, anybody who wants to come here. It started 2 years ago. This is our third summer season, from May through September. And we started out with I just realized the responsibility that we have in healthcare, that dietitians particularly have. Dietitians want people to eat right, and they talk about it a lot. But it goes beyond, you know, so many portions of this or that food, and what's the quality of the food, and what's the freshness of the food. So this became very important to me, and for the hospital to be a place for this to happen would be a great teaching. It's like visual education.
I mean, kids today, you know, if it comes out of a box or it comes out of a bag with a toy, they weren't involved in that. So I mean, it's getting back to that idea that you really can do this. And it's interesting because when you see kids today, when the schools do programs like this, or when they get involved and get excited about this, then that'll carry over to the home. We've seen it with, you know, recycling. We've seen it with the idea of going green. The kids are the ones who really, you know, let's reduce what we're doing. Well, here, let's go back to the way, and not that it was too long ago, but it's a way that we know is healthier for them. It's going to be less processed. There's going to be less saturated fats because it's fresh, it's good, and it's simple. And once they see that, I'm pretty sure they're going to like it. Because when you give a kid a fresh bowl of raspberries that they just picked, take any kid to a place to pick raspberries or pick strawberries, they're going to come back covered in strawberries. And you're not going to tell me they're not going to have a great time, whether they're going out and getting their own apples, picking their own cherries or peaches. They did that, and they're going to want to help put something together. Whether it's just a simple dessert or just a little thing of getting the beans, they're invested in it. You're getting them interested in it, and they're seeing that it's healthy for them. And it's not that hard to do.
Now that we're understanding we're not a body separate from a mind, we're a body-mind. And we are, in fact, a body-mind-spirit. Our spirit gives us strength, and it's not just that we have a heart beating. We have to say, what is your heart beating for? And the mind and body and spirit connection now are being appreciated in terms of health. And that's particularly true with something like taste, that we have to live a life worth living for, and that includes the senses, and the taste and color of food is very important for our digestion. We secrete more saliva. This assists in the digestive process. We are more attuned to when we've had enough. Fruit is naturally heavy, and so it will give a message to the stomach of enough. Whereas many of the refined foods, cookies, cakes, are light, and it'll take a lot more to give that heavy message that will then send a signal to the brain we've had enough.
On food, if you spend a little bit more money and you buy more healthy food, the benefits start to really accrue. And it actually should be something that people think about spending more money on when they can. It's interesting because the business schools are drawing still, even in 2010 after this big meltdown, these sort of brightest and most prestigious students. And what they're innovating, they're very innovative and very smart and intelligent. What they're innovating is the next sort of financial instrument, the next derivative, the next quote-unquote financial product that we saw in 2010. What they're really doing is spending all this energy and intellectual energy building this big house of cards that collapsed. And what we need to figure out is as we both know from farming, there's a lot of intelligence and ingenuity that goes into farming. And if we could harness some of these smart young kids and get them out of Wall Street, which they're basically spinning their wheels, making money, but not really producing anything, if we can divert at least some of them onto farms, imagine the new forms of sustainable farming that we could generate, the ingenious ways of recycling nutrients, of growing more food on less land, sustainably without chemicals. If those were the problems that we set for these kids, they would dazzle us with their solutions. Instead of the next credit default swap or credit default obligation that they're coming up with now.
We were talking about sustainability and local, and whether local really works or whether you still have to have very large-scale agriculture. It's all about what's happened and how everything has changed, and about what large-scale agriculture, industrial agriculture, has done to this country, to our people, to our farms, to our land, and how you can change that. That's hard.
So what is this contrary view?
That you can grow a lot of large-scale things, large-scale, but in a different way from the way they're being grown now, and that will work.
People have come to the conclusion that the more locally that they can eat, the more healthily they can eat, especially for people with allergies. It's shown with honeys that if you consume honey that's harvested in your area, it helps with allergies. And we really feel that the local produce does the same.
Colony collapse disorder, CCD, it's the environment is a lot of the problem. And when they ever clean up the environment, who knows? Ta-da!
It's just amazing. It defies, it's a myth buster. This facility is a myth buster, right? People say local, regional, it's too expensive, you can't do it. Then you've got a social service agency, essentially. You're doing all this local, regional, you plan on doing more. You're figuring out how it integrates into the community and builds rural economies. You've got the kids. It's just grand.
Being connected with the food that you're eating, you're honoring the place, the land, also the people. When you're buying food that you have no idea who produced it, then there's a disconnect, and you no longer have to think about the conditions in which those people worked, or the economic stress or emotional stress or physical strain that went into the production of that food, or the negative environmental impact that the production of that food might have had. So when you buy when you're buying directly from the people who live around you, you have to stop and think about those things. And I think that I like to try to stop and slow down and think about my actions throughout my life. And food is just one way of doing that, of making informed choices and conscientious choices about where my money is going to support. Oftentimes making a decision to support a farmer who's producing locally, you're also oftentimes making a huge environmental decision, and buying and supporting somebody locally is always going to be a better economic or environmental decision than supporting food that's grown from far away. So for me, the environmental impact is huge. Also, the flavor and the taste, and stopping to really detect the nuances and flavor that come out of food that's prepared close to where you live, and that's really fresh, and that's grown on soil that's rich and full of life. Then a lot of times the flavor that you taste is much richer and is a much more enjoyable experience. I think that buying from people who live around you, you're just helping to keep your money right there in your community. You're employing not only the farmer, but the people that he employs on his land. Every time he has to take his tractor to be repaired, you're also helping employ the people who work in the tractor repair place. Every time he goes and buy something from the hardware store, then your dollars are just rippling to affect a huge community, not necessarily just directly that farmer.
All right, everybody, the fire is lit. It doesn't look it yet, but pretty soon it's going to be licking at our heels. So, to Terra Madre Day.
I'm Stephen Friedman, and I'm on the board of directors of Slow Food Albemarle Piedmont, which covers a fairly large swath of Virginia. And slow food is all about, well, let's just say the name, you can take it somewhat literally. It's the opposite of fast food. It's about food being an important part of your life, something to be savored and respected rather than rushed through. It means different things to different people. For some people it's about local ingredients. For some people it's about farming that is gentle on the earth and avoiding monoculture and pesticides and so on. For some people it's about food traditions, excuse me. It's about knowing about our culinary history, what our grandparents ate and what our ancestors ate. That being recipes, ingredients, and so on. And for a lot of people it's just about making food a central part of our lives. Instead of driving through a McDonald's, sorry McDonald's, it's about savoring and relaxing. It used to be that the family communal meal was the most important time of the day for bonding in a family, and for neighbors and villages and so on to get together to exchange news, to share each other's lives. Now, how much of it is about dashing out the door and having a breakfast bar that you open up, toss the wrapper, and chow down on your way running off to something? And we're not saying anybody that does those things is evil, but we are saying that there's a rich history and tradition and important part of life to be enjoyed that we need maybe to get back to a little bit.
Having our customers able to come out to the farm and see how their beef was raised helped answer a lot of the questions they had for how such great tasting beef got to their table. In terms of new customers, it was an opportunity to introduce them to the way we farm and for them to leave the farm with some beef to try for dinner. So like most farmers, we're working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and our customers would love to see the farm. It's difficult for us to break from all of the chores we've got every day. So the Meet Your Eats farm tour was a great opportunity to concentrate our customers on a single day and really show them all the aspects of the farm. It was good for them, good for us. I think it was a great opportunity for people here in Charlottesville to really find out in the local economy how buying local, buying from a sustainable farm helps both the farmer and the community, as well as giving the customer a very great product to bring home to their dinner. Well, the key thing about eating locally is not just getting great tasting and nutritious and healthy food, but it's also the act of supporting your local community, keeping the dollars local, helping drive a sustainable economy. So the Meet Your Eats farm tour gave people here in Charlottesville an opportunity to see the farm and to understand exactly how their buying decision affects not only their table, but it also affects their local community. It affects the jobs in the local community. It affects the flow of dollars in the local community. And the local movement is a lot more than just a move towards healthy eating. It's a move towards sustainable living in your community.
Every good sustainable food movement is around a liberal arts college.
Buy local is good, of course, and it's not going to go away, but feeding our neighbors is even more cool because it's even closer.
I'm Rex Linville, Land Conservation Officer with the Piedmont Environmental Council, and you're watching Meet the Farmer TV.
This program is a production of Meet the Farmer TV, LLC, in association with Planet Earth Diversified, Melly Productions, and Leslie P. Jenkins Photography and Graphic Design. Meet the Farmer TV is made possible by Culpeper Media Network, helping to preserve the agricultural history of Virginia. And In the Kitchen magazine, serving the community and everyone who loves good food.